Welcome to the weekly chart review. It is Saturday, November 26th. We're going to dive right into Forex. AUD CAD. Alright, so what I see on AUD CAD right now, I jumped on the daily and I noticed that it's slowly progressing down over a very long period of time. Okay, so what this tells me is that there's very likely going to be some sort of play in and around here. Sure enough, when I switch over to the lower time frame, the order block for a sell is right here. Right, just showing you I'm going to turn on the smart money indicator just to speed things along a little bit. Okay, we're going to go for the more obvious plays. So an order block is set to be around this area potentially. Now let's take a look what we would do if it is a sell trade. Going from right here, wanted to go about 60 pips. As you can see from here it's 12, so it's super tight. Okay, I'd want to go just above this peak right here, so making it even at around, let's say 40 pips. That's going to be a very reasonable stop loss. For the potential gain, going back down to here at the minimum, even if we're aiming to be safe and go to that order block, that's still a 10-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I feel pretty good about this trade actually. Everything's been trending down for a long time. There's just been a short recovery over the last month. AUD and CAD are about even right now. Let me just double check. I do believe that, let's see, no, CAD is almost an entire percentage higher in its interest rates. That means it should be starting to go bullish very soon. Alright, so AUD had its move upwards, and as we see how the structure is set, that's just its typical pullback before it continues on its way down. Okay, so what I can see is this trade, this potential trade right here. Now, safe trade would be to about that target. A nice long-term trade could go even longer, right? So if we take a trend-based fib extension and go from this low to this high and back down to this low, right? You can see that it's already sitting up in that red zone. So very good chances it's going to reverse sometime soon. Now, if we do the reverse, right? If we do the trend base, we go the high, the low, and then the high, right? Let's say it's exactly where the entry is going to be. You can see right here on that red line and the red zone kind of culminate in that target zone. So good potential long-term target for that. Short-term, I would say just to this order block right here. All right, so there's that. And set your alerts however you like. I'm going to set mine right here. Add alert. Crossing, entering sell zone. There we go. Moving down, AUD CHF. I don't really see anything that exciting here. I'm not a big fan of CHF pairs that much either. You can see it's pretty choppy overall. I do have a feeling it's going to be going down, but yeah, I mean, long term it is going to be going down. It's just CHF takes a long time for it to actually move. You can see right here in the span of, what is it, 3 months, 61 days, so 2 months, right? I mean, it just went up and down about 80 pips. It's really not worth jumping into this kind of trade. I have a feeling that's what's going on right here. It's bouncing in between two lines. I'd rather just leave it alone. AUD JPY, similar idea on the daily. It's starting to peak a little bit higher. Order block has been kind of reached right there back in August. Let's take a look at the 4-hour to see if there's any potential moves that are going to happen. So 2 order blocks actually within each other. Good potential chance for it to come down there. Let's see what a buy order looks like. 60 pip stop loss. It's going to about the 80 pip mark. Not really liking that. If it goes to this one though, I'd be more inclined to take that, right? Setting it to about 40 pip stop loss, maybe even the 60, just to be safe in case it does come to the halfway point there. For a potential move, up to there in the minimum, right? So 7.3 to 1 risk to reward for that potential trade. Not as excited about this one as I am AUD CAD. This doesn't seem to be, it's very choppy, you know. I mean, there's a lot of wicks in AUD pairs, and like you can see JPY when news comes out, it's very volatile. Yeah, I'm just liking AUD CAD a little bit more in this one. I will keep the trade idea alive just to see if it does drop down to that zone. Right now, it's been bouncing off of this white Fibonacci channel line. AUD NZD, definitely not interested in trading that. Although, judging from how it's been looking, it's been pretty stable, right? So let's see. If we take fib retracements, you know, to this low, you could see kind of hit that 50% mark. Same sort of idea, right? With that high down to this low point right here. It didn't even hit the 50, kept going, right? So very strong trade. Now from here to the low, just past the 50 and almost nicked the 618, kept going. Yeah, you know, so very likely it might just have a deep retracement going up. I don't know if it's going to go up that high. There is a slight imbalance here that I can see on the 4-hour. It would make sense. But overall, not a pair that I like to trade, right? If, you know, anybody decides to jump in on that one, you know, something like this is more of what I'd be looking at. You know, short term 4 to 1, not too bad. Still don't like it that much. AUD USD. So this guy, being a bit of a butthole, it dropped down nicely and then it kind of, you know, recovered and it pulled back into the entry zone. So, you know, originally this would have been just a 3 to 1, if that, right? So once it started pulling back, that's especially if it crossed on the 4-hour, I'd be looking to exit. Right now that it popped back into the entry, I jump back in for a sell. Not doing too shabby, although the EMA lines haven't really shifted back down, so that makes me a bit nervous. But yeah, you know, I mean, I'll just set. I'm going to be setting, like it already dropped down about 43 pips, so I mean, I'm not risking a 60 pip stop loss. I set it at break even if it wasn't a 1-to-1 at this point. If it starts hovering around this line, I'm not gonna really jump back in until I see some sort of play that comes in with indicators. All right, so right now, I mean, this trade is still alive. Possible entry once again. It's only like, what, 13 pips away from entry? About that, yeah, 13 pips. Right, so I mean, if it pops back up again, decent area to take in. Although possibly for a sell stop, right? So when it crosses to the lower mark, that's when I would be happy if the entry is triggered rather than just a sell limit. CAD CHF. I'm going to switch it back to the daily. Right, so I mean, long term it's kind of all over the place. Makes new highs, going from its lows back in 2020. So, but right now it looks like it's playing off of the Fibonacci channel line, so that's a good sign, right? It's already used it once, twice, 3 times as a resistance. Sorry, as a support, and potentially could be climbing, right? Let's jump down to the 4-hour, see if there's anything of interest. It just looks like it's going to be going lower, but I would be looking at this area. Okay, where is it? This one. I'd be looking around here. Maybe not as low right to the bottom, but maybe 40 pips is pretty safe on this one, I would think. If it drops below that, I'd be kind of losing interest in this trade anyway. And then way up to here. So a good potential 8.2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. I know this says order blocks, but those aren't real order blocks, guys. Like, that's not how. Do the training that I set aside in the trading masterclass, and you'll understand why these aren't real order blocks. Like, I understand it had engulfing candles in opposite direction, but this isn't what I'm looking for as far as those blocks are concerned. All right. Something like this, if that would form, that would be more of what I'd be interested in. But or this one, that's a pretty decent one. But on the 1 hour, it's not as crucial, especially when they're that small, right? For me, when it's 8 pips, I don't really consider that an order block. So yeah, that's really the trade idea. This right here, it's forming to see if it's going to be a break of structure. So otherwise, it's a change of structure, and it'll see it moving back up. So there's that. You know what? I'll mark that one too. There's going to be a lot of trade ideas actually. So look at this one. CAD JPY had this trade going for quite a while, since near the beginning of November. Now, you could see all that consolidation finally dropped a little bit lower, right? Realistically, I mean, I'm out of this trade way out here anyway. There's no point in staying in this trade. Like, look, 2 days. 2 days to hit TP, done. What's the sense of staying in a bit longer just to grab just a tiny more? I mean, I'm out. I'm happy. I got my gains. Could have been 14.75 to 1, but you know what? Why be greedy? I'm happy with 10 to 1 or 11 to 1. That's fine. Okay, this was a very successful trade. It worked out nicely. But as you can see, it was in order block territory, but that order block only formed after it happened. So here is the situation. All right, now you can see on the 4 hour, these order blocks come up after time goes on, and then the algorithm shows this potential move, right? The trouble is this candle right after that block came up to that 50% before dropping lower. So once that happens, that's kind of it. Like, this is where the move would be for the sell. All right, I think I went over this a long time ago too, that this kind of choppy up and down, right, until it finally did an EMA shift. That's why I had the entry at the bottom of this candle. So yeah, I mean, lots of potential ideas here, but that was a pretty good one. The only crappy thing was this back and forth on the EMA shifts, right? So that could have potentially hit stop losses once or twice before moving down. But even still, I mean, you lose 2 and you gain 11, right? That's still overall a 9 to 1 victory off of one trade. Right, so this one, I mean, I'm not really looking for any trade ideas right now. It's done. Let's move on to CHF JPY. Yeah, this does not interest me at all. Moving down, Euro AUD. Keep saying that this is going to keep climbing, but look at this. It's just sideways movement for almost a month and a half now, right? I mean, when did we actually start in this area? Kind of right here when it crossed over. It didn't go lower. So we've been kind of chilling out for 52 days in no man's land, right? I mean, from the highs to I mean, realistically, it's still like 400 pips, 448 pips worth of movement. Yeah. Nope, I'm still set on it moving way up here. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Euro CAD. Move started, move kind of hit TP. Now it's entering my zone. This is what I was waiting for, right? You saw that I drew this up a long time ago. All right, so let's switch it to the daily. And this is what I see. This is the reason why I see it coming up here. So the daily order block here, kind of off of 618. So very nice potential trade idea. Let's go off of that zone here to the top. Is it going to be 60? Oh, yeah, just what a nice, right above that target zone. That's fantastic. All right, so this is going to look more of a long-term trade. It can go all the way down there. Like, as you can see on the daily, this has been dropping significantly for a long time. Okay? Doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So, very nice potential trade idea. Almost a 19 to 1 risk to reward ratio. The only situation is you might be in this trade for 3 to 4 months, right? So, patience. Either that or tighten the stop loss a little bit, so order the TP can be hit a little bit sooner. But it is climbing. It is getting to that target zone. So 2 potential entries, right? Off the order block right here, right at that 50% for a 60 pip stop loss. That's the safe bet. Riskier bet is to going off that 618, but at that point I would like to have a larger stop loss, right, just to make sure that it's snagged and you don't miss that trade. But that's more riskier, right? And you're increasing your stop loss size, so your lot size needs to reflect that. But also off that 618 line, there's really nothing of interest besides a previous supply zone right here. That's really it, right? So if there's any nerves when it comes to this trade, waiting for it to get into those areas and then hit that EMA shift, kind of like it did here, safer bet, right? So jumping in on an EMA shift, what would that look like? Let's say if it was grabbed there, you know, it could have been 50 pips in profit, and then it went up to 40, and then back down to 50, and then it finally shifted around here. So, I mean, this would have been a break-even trade one way or another, right? Nothing too exciting about that. But this is going to be the real EMA shift that I'm looking for. If that happens in this sort of zone, I'm going to extend this zone a little bit. If that happens somewhere in here, that's where I'm taking that trade. So this one for sure. I'll set the alert right above the 618 line. Entering sell zone, fantastic. Euro CHF. Let's see, on the daily, not really too interested on this. I was expecting it to pop way up here, but it's kind of dawdling. It looks like the majority of volume is sitting right there. So I'm going to delete my previous ideas there. I don't see it. Well, I do, but this might take a while to come back to this area. I'll just extend this at a, you know, potentially getting back up there. Once it does, that would be a very nice entry for a sell. So I'll leave it alone for now. Euro GBP, no thanks. That's messy. Euro JPY. So the trade idea was set here from last week. You know, not fantastic. This is kind of the crap chop that we see sometimes. You know, it kind of goes in, up, around, all over the place. So I'd stay out for the time being, right? Like this triggered a stop loss already, and then it hit entry and went into profit, so that would have been a break even. But it's not worth it right now. I'm going to delete this trade idea. You know, so that hit stop loss, fine. End of story with this guy. Judging from how it's been going, it's still climbing. I'm not entirely sure, actually, at this point, because JPY is still at minus 0.1 for interest rates. So, you know, in the negative is great for their populace because, as you see right now, we're dying of inflation all in North America and primarily in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Like, we're all being crushed, right? The ones that are doing the best for its citizens right now is Switzerland and Japan. They have very, very low interest rates just to help their populace not get crushed by the inflationary rates. Let's see. So Euro is looking at 2% right now, so it should still be very much bullish over the long term. Will it be a sufficient pullback? Let's see. If we do a fib going from this to this high, hey, you know what? This looks like a pretty decent trade idea. Let's jump in on that one. The order block right below the 618. Let's go right to the bottom of that with 60 pips and new highs, or to the previous one. So 12 to 1 risk to reward ratio on this trade idea potentially could work out very well. If interest rates keep the way they do, then this is going to definitely be in our favor. Euro NZD. You know, not, like I said, not a huge fan of NZD pairs, but this is kind of obvious, right? I mean, just a simple fib retracement, it's kind of sitting in that zone now. But that's it. There's really nothing else going for it besides the Fibonacci, right? And as you see, it is making new higher highs and higher lows over the daily time frame. So that's a good sign that it wants to come back up, but it is doing deeper retracements, right? So if we take this one, and we do a Fibonacci from this low to this high on that temp basis, you can see it went right to the 786. So this kind of lines up with what I drew way down here. Okay, I don't think it's going to go all the way down to the order block, but right here where I have the, well, let's see what that is, because I think I have it set on the 4-hour time frame. Right here, yep, there we go. Let's zoom in. What is that target that was drawn up? Yeah, see, there you go. So that is actually one of the order blocks. It did get triggered right there. So I don't think it's going to come back down there, actually. There's a potential for it to be right there. Very nice moves. You can see large parallel candles. That's a good sign for it to trigger a buy off of that. So let's move, because again, this hit the 50%, so I think this is out of play. And let's move this guy right here. And instead of just extending it the entire way, I'll just draw a big white line. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Getting pretty close. Okay, and yeah, I mean, algorithm doesn't consider it an order block because it doesn't fit its pattern, but this is much more obvious to me than something tiny like that. Okay, let's move on to here for a second. What else can we see? Smooth climbs, lots of volume. You know what? We haven't drawn a volume bar in a while. Let's see where most of the volume plays out from this low to this low. Way over here. And look, it's exactly where it's sitting. It's exactly where this is sitting right now. Look at that. I'm going to draw a red ray just to signify the point of control. Look at that. What do we think, folks? Good buy territory, or is it going to consolidate for a little bit? You know what? I'm not going to draw up any buys or sells. I'm just going to watch. This is very interesting so far. Good development. Even though I'm not a huge fan of NZD pairs, something like this is a little too good to miss out. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'll mark it as an orange right now. Euro USD, another big bugger. Look at this guy. Oh, frustrating. You know, it gets right into that zone. Beautiful trade entry down to here being how much in profit? It was all the way down to 200 pips in profit and then back to break even. Like, that's a pain in the ass. You know? Still, once it got to that area and you see it doesn't really want to hit entry again, not a bad potential area for a sell, right? Even if we bring this over here, it's not above that previous line. And if it does, then that's it for the trade. I'm not going to be taking this again. But since it's sitting around that zone, you know, maybe a good area for a sell. I'm just going to keep this trade idea up. For me, it's still valid. It's still happening around that area. You know, now that it's kind of moving sideways, that EMA shift on the 4 hour is going to be beautiful. Once it does happen, great area for an entry, right? It had that chance before, and even still, this wouldn't have been so bad. How many pips would this have been if entry was taken? 100 pips, that's not so bad. You know, Euro USD, I'm going to take a look at that on the Scholar strategy as well. I do believe that would have been, no, that was this week. Okay, we'll see how that worked out. Right, US, oh no, I don't have it. That's right, I wasn't watching Euro USD. That's okay. So for fun, I'll do it up on my other video. Okay, GBP AUD, another big turd. Look at this. Drops in nicely, sitting in profit beautifully. Look at that, 400, almost 500 pips worth. Oh my gosh. Once, twice, and then back to break even. Come on. But you know what? If that trade, you know, you decided to stay into when there was EMA shifts aplenty, maybe not a good idea. You know, you still could have capitalized on a 6-to-1 risk to reward if the exits were taken, right? So look at that. How much would this have been? Let's just take a look. I'm going to bring that down. So this, all the way here, almost an 8-to-1 entry taken, so 3-to-1, not bad. Way back down here, another 8-to-1 chance. EMA shift, again, 5-to-1. Lots of potential chances for those wins, right? But I'll leave it back down there. lots of potential chances, but it's still, it's just a bummer that all these trade ideas that I want to take and it goes right back up to entry. Ugh. This is why it's important, guys, when you see that you're like 3, 4, 5 to 1 in profit, move up your stop loss. Like yeah, I mean, it could get triggered, but I mean, you risk going into a break even just because of greed, right? I mean, I'm still happy with a 4 to 1, a 3 to 1, even a 2 to 1 win, if that means, more than a break even or a loss overall. But it's now sitting back in this zone, looking really good for another sell potential. As you can see, it bugs me where it keeps highlighting this, but oh geez. Anyway, you know what? I'll move it out of the way. We all know kind of that's the area. Okay, so you can see it's chilling out on that 618 here. 618? No, 618's right here. Okay, that's a little higher. It's around that 786 Fibonacci lines, channel lines. There's lots of stuff going on here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that, move this back here. There we go. So another good potential sell entry, as you can see, it's just zigzagging. It wants to go there, and it looks like at the EMA shift, that's going to be a very nice entry to take. GBP CAD, we are in the zone. So now that it's up here, I'll flip it back over to the daily. So you see it hit that 618 zoned area. Still climbing though. So that's kind of what I said. I was going to be watching this area, but it seems like it wants to go here even. What are you doing, Box? Probably around that area. That would make sense. Order block right there on the daily. What's the 4-hour look like for any order blocks long term? Not that long term, it seems. Okay. So on the daily, not too bad. 618's already hit right there, so very good potential chance that this is going to turn around, become a sell. But on the daily time frame, I mean, EMA shifts will take a while. So let's move on. GBP CHF, very nice potential gains still. Right when it hit that area, like I said, let's not be greedy. This was a great win anyway. Almost a 10 to 1. Now it's sitting at a 13 to 1. Fantastic. All right, let it keep going up. My ultimate TP was up here to the next order block, so I think that was about a 20 to 1 or so. Not entirely sure exactly where I set it up originally. I think it's in my beginning of November videos, something like that. But yeah, looks very good. This trade idea is continuing. I'm not going to draw anything new up. This is exactly as predicted. GBP JPY, not too interested here. It's just looks like it just kind of hit a double top. It might be dropping a little bit more, but seeing as GBP rates are at 3% and JPY is negative 0.1, I have a feeling we're still going to be climbing. GBP NZD, no thank you. GBP USD. Yeah, so it's hitting that 786 in this area. There is an imbalance, an order block for a buy. I do believe this is going to be going down. It kind of fits the bill for NASDAQ, right? Which I'm going to cover in my other video. So let's see, NZD CAD, the last one that I had a trade idea for, but man, this blew it way out. So that's kind of over with. We'll see where it keeps going. I was expecting to double top right there and then to drop, but it's not doing that. So the only other thing that I can see is if I take a fib, draw it from there all the way down, we're sitting at a 618 at this point. NZD is much stronger than CAD as far as its interest rates, so this could potentially keep climbing, right? Maybe even, no, it's not going to go that much higher. Probably this order block right here, that's a good potential chance. And off the 4-hour, I don't think they go this far back. No, it's okay. But you know, let's do some reconnaissance, guys. Right here, let's zoom in to where this peak was. You can see the volume was about that area. So watch, when it consolidates from that, watch, it's going to be right around there. You can see it kind of wicked in there instead of dropping. So that would have been a fantastic entry for that. So yeah, just been on a sell all the way down to there. And then you can see lots of consolidation actually, but this is a very, very slow drop down, right? Even this drop, this is textbook, right? Look at this. High, low, retracement up to the 886. Maybe it's a little too high for my taste. But look, go down. Here's the low. Drag it across. 618. New one. That was the high. Here's the low. Drag it across. 618. Move it down to the low. Drag it across. Golden zone, not quite 618, but almost there. Next one, you know, that's the new high right here. Going down to the low. Drag it across. You know, 786 finally went up 886, but dropped a little lower. Right? Then here, down to the new low. Finally, when it hit the new low, you know, break structure right there when it made a new high. So that's it. Once it breaks that area, now it's in buy mode. Let's check out buy mode, how this worked out. Okay, it looks super choppy on the 4 hour, right? Because it's just big candles, big wicks all over the place. But look how obvious we can make this, okay? So from this low, approximately to that high, all right, where do we drop down? 618, then we go up. So we'll move this new higher low right here to the new high. Where is the new high? Right around here. Right there. Look at that, 618, then it climbs, new high. So there we go. Once it hits the new high, which is right there, it drops down, right? So in here, you can see on the 4 hour doesn't really show up, but I'll switch it over to the 1. All right, what are we going to see on the 1 hour at that 618 mark? Okay, because we drew it up and it was right here. Holy crap, do you see that? Order block. Beautiful. I mean, it's still dragging across, but that's how it played out. Right? That would have been a good one. So let's drop the replay here. What could we have seen way back in October? 30-minute. There it is. There it is. This guy right here. That's what we want to be looking for. Beautiful candle pattern, right? Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The reason I say that, and I'll take the indicator off just to show you for a second. Look at this. Almost no wicks going to the bottom there. It's just a straight move down and then right back up that next 30 minutes. Right? This is a beautiful marker. That 50% line right here is exactly what we want to be looking for to enter a trade with. Right? And then look what ended up happening. I increase that to times 10. Right? Look at that. Boom. You see? You see? Look at that beautiful entry. Oh my goodness. I wish I would have caught this back in October. Damn. That's okay. Well, we'll cut that out. But it's good to see now, like it's indicator really helps. It may not show everything that we need to, but as far as being able to pick certain spots out, we can zoom in and kind of do some due diligence and more digging in those areas. Right, so now what we see going on here, I'm sure there's going to be some information later on in the future as to what happened here, what's going to happen later on. Right, but man, that looked good. Too bad that was missed, but oh, so sour about that too. Like what a beautiful move this would have been. Right from this zone, you see, right from here, just wicked in, you know, sitting in 30 days at 613 pips in profit. That would have been for a month-long trade. Very nice. NZD CHF. Yeah, there is order blocks on the daily. I don't really see this happening very much. Even though CHF interest rates have been low, they're still kind of crushing it long term, right? So the only thing I can see is, I mean, yeah, overall, this is still on a sell. I don't want to risk a sell because the interest rates are so low, right? NZD should be recovering in the long term. Maybe that was its overall lowest point. Yeah, I'm not going to be taking any sells from this pair. This is yeah. Anyway, NZD JPY, nothing of interest. And then oil keeps going. You see that? Like, wow, what a trade idea that would have been. Keeps going. So all the way down. Look at that. A 16 to 1. That would have been fantastic. Right? USD CAD. Not much excitement going on here. You know, judging with how it looks like on the long-term chart, I stayed out of it on the Scholar strategy. Again, though, I'll go over it on my video. USD CHF kind of hit a double bottom right there, but it is a new low, so this is done. Not interested regarding that anymore. Oops. And USD JPY finally. So yeah, a bit of a bummer. Started off going very nicely in that predetermined direction. So overall, you know, up 188 pips, and then boom, JPY smoked it out of the water. So yeah, I mean, overall break even, right? But in the last, within this month, there has been several decent trades. There's been a few losses and more break evens than I'd like. But you know what? Still, overall profit has been good. So yeah, I mean that's Forex, guys. Jump in on the next videos and see what else there is to talk about. Thanks a lot, and see you next week.